Good morning, everyone. We are here alongside Ted Lin, the head of international markets for Binance. And he is here in India to expand Binance in India and to have a feel what is India thinking about. So, without wasting any more time, I will ask Ted to tell something about himself and about Binance coming here to India.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today. I have always been in tech. I studied computer science in undergrad and my master's degree. And afterwards, I plunged myself into the business side of things. So international development, international marketing and branding is what I'm all about. And I especially love to travel to different countries and to interact with different people around the world. And I believe that is at the core of the blockchain revolution and what Binance believes in. So I'm glad to be here. I'm privileged to be here, actually, to meet the people of India and the enthusiasts who are curious about blockchain and crypto.
Ted, you must have seen that for the past 2 days, what we have realized, that the age group of people visiting this blockchain event, which held yesterday, there were a lot of people who were in the age group of 25 to 35. So, were you excited to see the number of people who are so young and in their age group of 25 to 35? So, does that excite you?
Yes, absolutely. I believe blockchain is right at the very, very beginning right now. When we have young people plunging into this field, that means they're extremely curious. And if we have more talents and more interest from the newer generation, or the generation that have yet to take the helm of today's private or public sectors running, we have a much better chance for this longevity of the revolution. So it's very exciting to see that.
Ted, in your recent tweet, you've already made a connection with the Indian community by saying namaste. So, I mean, the Indian crypto community was so glad to see that Binance and you came up with this namaste greeting. So, with a population size of 1.3 billion in India, what exactly is your expansion plan?
I think it goes way beyond the notion of how big the population size is. We respect every difference there is around the world. There's close to 8 billion people around the world, and 1.3 billion is by no means small. So it is definitely a pivotal market if blockchain proliferation is going to be taking place around the world. And our plan is to get close to India and to start the learning journey. Despite we already have a lot of Indian users, we believe we do not have enough understanding yet to serve the Indian market as well as we want to be. So we want to be up and close and personal. So that's why this time around we're also announcing the establishment of a local marketing team. In fact, we just started looking for the Indian marketing team. We're looking for a PR specialist, we're looking for a community manager, and we're looking for a marketing events coordinator. And our plans to hold, for example, the meetup we're going to have today, we actually made a very special edition t-shirt. If you see here, this is the Charminar. So I was told this is a landmark of Hyderabad. And for the Hyderabad meetup, we wanted to have something special. So we made a few special edition t-shirts for the lucky draw for the people who join us for the meetup. And we also want to understand what the different Indian users or the crypto enthusiasts are curious about. No matter if it's about the space or about Binance, we'll be answering all those questions in the meetup.
Ted, you know that recently in India, there has been a restriction from the Central Bank of India on crypto. So how does it affect your expansion plan? Is there a change in strategy now?
Our strategy was never completely dependent upon how open the regulation is a particular market. Because regardless how ambitious every company is or how enthusiastic every user is in a particular part of the world, there's always the overarching regulation. And government is having the goodwill to want to protect the people as well as to formulate a regulation that is pro-innovation. So it's actually a very good thing that the government is looking into this matter seriously instead of hastily. So we perceive what we're doing will not be hampered by. In fact, we will continue to do the education part, which is what we believe in. If we continue the education, if we continue the interaction to learn about user preference and what their needs and what they're curious about blockchain, and educate them one by one, by the time the regulation is cemented a very clearly defined, very safe and pro-innovation regulations defined, the rest of the people will be ready to go at a much faster pace than before.
One question everybody would like to know in India, CZ being featuring on the Forbes richest list, Binance being the largest and one of the most profitable exchanges in a span of 1 year. So we would like to understand what is that secret ingredient and what is the key in the meteoric rise of Binance in the world.
I honestly think it is not the result of what we did only. It is actually the result of the millions of the people around the world that chipped in their effort. We have always been humble. We have always been open-minded, communicative, and transparent. And we focused on building the best product, the best performance, the best security, and the best user-friendly product. And because the bar keeps raising as we push the envelope, so we have to continually to evolve and revolve ourselves. So we become faster, safer, and even stronger and more open with the community. So it's actually because of the input of the community, the fact that they were willing to give us a try, we had a chance to have so much impact. So we will continue to be humble, and we will continue to be in the learning mode. Hopefully, we can stay number one and serve the world better every day.
While we all know that Binance is the number one exchange and they are the leaders in centralized exchanges, but Binance has recently disclosed that their plans for a decentralized exchange. So why there was a need of a decentralized exchange? And do you think that both the models can coexist in the future?
That's a wonderful question, actually. We get asked about the decentralized versus centralized a lot. Our job is not to try to guess which one will be more popular in the future. But we do believe that crypto and blockchain should touch as many lives as possible for the better. So in serving the global audience, we do need to proliferate and advance the technology and the state of decentralized exchange. There are some obvious advantages to centralized versus decentralized and vice versa. For example, a central exchange right now is faster than decentralized. There is customer service personnel who can help you because it's managed by a central team, and all the transactions and all the behavior you operate on the platform is visible to the platform providers, so the centralized customer service can help you more. And if you do not know how to best or the safe way to keep your funds or crypto, it's actually safer to trust people like Binance, who centrally manages and secures your asset. Now, the decentralized part is when you really care about owning and taking care of your own coins or tokens. You get to have full custody at all times of your crypto assets. And also, there's less of a overview or oversight about which crypto asset can be listed on decentralized exchanges. So for those projects or those people who just want to trade anything and everything, decentralized wanted other ways as well. So these two models are completely different. The reason why we also started development of decentralized exchange is because we believe both technology will coexist in the future. And right now, decentralized exchange is simply not fast enough to be that user-friendly. So we also want to catapult the advance in that technology. So for us, once we have the decentralized exchange, both the Binance centralized exchange, which is the .com right now, as well as the decentralized exchange, they will coexist together. And for the foreseeable years coming up, we do not see one will definitively take over the other.
But who out of the two will eventually be the leader? Which model?
In our view, users like a platform that is fast, that is secure, that is user-friendly, and where there is quality projects they want to, they can trade, and also there is liquidity. Liquidity means there's a lot of volume, there's dense order books, so if they make a trade, the price will not be affected too much. Right now, the liquidity is focused around centralized exchanges. That part probably will be take the longest to be replaced or rivaled by decentralized exchanges. But in terms of quality project listing, I think decentralized exchange will have a bigger set of projects for people to trade. Just they have to choose carefully. Yeah. Whereas centralized, we have a curated list we choose to list. So it's actually hard to say. It depends on how it evolves, but everybody has a different preference. We're not going to choose for them, but we're going to make sure both are very well executed platforms so the users can choose.
Binance is one exchange. You never know whom they're going to list on their exchange. And people want to know in India, what are the parameters? What are those yardsticks one has to pass before getting listed on Binance? In a brief, if you can tell us.
I think that's one of the most popular questions we get asked all the time, right? I think it's analogous to how does an investor or an average Joe decide which company, which business, or even which restaurant they like? Which one do they recommend to their friends? Is it a restaurant that looks very nice on the outside, but the food is not very good? Is it a business that claims to be doing a lot of things, but in actual fact, they're not very solid and the product's very clunky? Upon using it, you would never return again. So if you think about it, we're actually just looking for a good business, good project, good companies, good teams, good products. So it's actually not rocket science. It's rather conscientious. It's just so that right now there's a lot of projects that look to hit Binance for the instant stardom, and they forget that all it's all about is making a product that people like, people love. You have to make sure the product is solid. You have to improve it. You have to interact with your users. You have to grow the real user base, and you have to be impacting the world for the better, for real. So I would say that's the most common sense and at the core of what we look for.
In India, mailing address is required by law enforcement authorities. Whenever they are supposed to approach you, they approach you via letters or some notice. So for that, they require address. And what we have seen that Binance keeps its mailing address, its physical office's addresses anonymous. So if suppose a foreign jurisdiction wants to, foreign law enforcement authority wants to approach you, maybe in India suppose, how do they approach you when they don't know your mailing address or your registered office address? So is there a reason that why you don't keep your office address or registered address on the website? Why don't you publish that on your website? Is there a particular reason behind it?
The biggest reason is for safety purposes. Now, we are engaged in financial technology, but also the financial services side of things. So we touch upon the livelihood and the actual investment of many people. And yes, these are crypto assets, but we treasure them highly. So these are valuable information. These are personal data we're dealing with. And also for our staff, our employees, our angels around the world, these are actual people who's pushing hard to help the world. So the safety of the people and the safety of the data and security of it is our utmost important concern. So that's why we don't publish that kind of information in the wild. Now, we already cooperate with many authorities and all the different law enforcement officers around the world. And especially in the United States, the Homeland Security Department, the FBI, the CIA, they always come to us. They always come to us about certain cases. And one of the best ways for them to reach us is through the support website. So they can actually issue a ticket on the support website. That's support.binance.com. And they can send us whether they have some kind of a legal letter requesting for information such as subpoenas, or they just have any inquiries in general about a particular case. After they submit the ticket, we get back to them. We reach out with our case specialist. We actually have a case team dedicated for this kind of inquiries. So all the law enforcement officers and regulars around the world that have this very direct and consistent way to reach us, just go to the website, go to the support, and open a ticket, and we will have the team reach out to you.
fair answer for that. Uh, you have recently acquired Trust Wallet. There were some wallets already on Play Store who have already proved their mettle and who were quite popular. So, what was the reason to acquire Trust Wallet? Can you just explain a little bit on that?
I think when acquisitions happen, people think, okay, so what's the magic behind this? Why do you choose one over the other? People think about the product, people think about the existing brand. But sometimes people overlook the importance of the intangible equities. I'm talking about not equity in terms of the shares, but the intangible values such as the team, such as the value of the original founding project. And for Trust Wallet, their value and our vision align completely. So this is a team led by Victor that focuses on user satisfaction, focuses on secure product, focuses on a high-performance product. And that's at the core of Binance too. So out of the different teams we do look at, it just so happens that Trust Wallet meets all the criteria, aligns with our vision, and have the intention to grow further with us. So I wouldn't say this is the end-all, be-all, but we are continuing to be on the lookout for the next great thing. So I think this is one of those instances where the chemistry worked out, and we're very, very happy for the acquisition.
As you said that you are looking for the next great thing, you think that one of those things you can find in India? Do you see that there's a huge potential in India, and there are, in your eyes, are there any players who are doing a good job, or in exchanges maybe, or in wallet? Do you think that your search might end in India as well?
I think India definitely has a lot of potential. There's great talents, there's great engineers, it's got a great market, so products actually morph through their different iterations at a very fast pace. These are definitely some of the critical elements for a great project or a great product or even a great brand to give birth to. So we believe that in India, there's a lot of chance. We haven't discovered anything like in the short list, but we're happy to be interacting with any kind of people who have great ideas. We have the incubator arm called Binance Labs. The Binance Labs team is always on the lookout for the next big thing. We also have a division that's responsible for merger acquisition, so it's kind of like extension of that. And also we're looking for great projects who are interested in doing ICO with Binance. That's the launch pad. And overall, if a great project they have launched, they want to be listed, we also take into consideration quality projects to list on the listing side of things. So it's not just a one-off saying like, okay, we want to acquire or not, but there's many, many ways to interact with the Binance ecosystem.
And one last question. We see every day that that in this industry, and most of the people, they enter with an intention of making quick money. But you have set a new benchmark, altogether a new benchmark. In just a span of 1 year, you have started a charity foundation. And you have been helping countries, especially like Uganda, Bermuda, and you are setting up their businesses, even if it is not profitable initially. What drives this thing?
So, borrowing the quote from Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. We were never in it to be only business and profit-driven. I think that's a result, but it's not our cause. We're in it to make the world a better place. Yes. And to make the world a better place is not only about listing very good projects, growing the user base conscientiously, serving them very well. It's not. There's many ways. And as we have more resource, we also want to help the world in a very charitable way. And blockchain is the perfect way. Now, all the charity we're doing are going to be tracked fully. And that is one power of the blockchain, where its immutable ledger can clearly show how these money are being put to use. So we just believe that it's part of our responsibility to take the lead, to show the world that if you make it big, you also have to give back.
With this noble thought, I am sure We are eagerly waiting for the regulations to get clear, and we eagerly waiting for Binance to do a full-fledged business in India. So thank you very much for your time, and it's a privilege to have a word with Ted Lin, the head of international markets for Binance. Thank you very much.